Yes, guys, welcome to the next episode of Beyond the Posing with the posing pro, the queen of posing, the person we go to when we want to talk about all divisions. But we like to talk about Fit Model. It is, of course, Emma Hyman. Emma,
Hey Sophie, how are you doing?
I'm all good. I know you've had a busy couple of days. You got a lot of things going on, but also I see that some of the Fit Model overall winners have even dropped you a DM asking, "Could you critique my posing?"
Yeah, had a couple of girls dropping me a message to say, please, can you critique my routine? Give me some feedback. I think they're all keen because they're going to get back on stage. They just want to know, okay, where can I correct and improve? But yeah, it's been a really, really good weekend for Fit Model.
Yes, so obviously, if you have followed Fit Model, there was the newest IFBB Pro in the Fit Model division, and that is Angel from China, who won the overall at the China DMS. I don't have a video yet. She's still trying to work on getting over to me, but I think we'll probably cover that next week. However, we do have the comparisons for the overalls, which we are going to look into at the end. But before that, there were about 10 different shows all over the world
Yeah,
with Fit Model. We got Guatemala, we got the first Australia, we got Canada, and of course there's the US. What is exciting for us, Emma, though,
yeah,
is this weekend because the UK
yeah,
brings up Fit Model for the first time. So looking forward to this.
yes,
Um,
too. I'm excited to see what the UK's got to bring.
so let's get it started. And guys and girls, please, as you know, drop a comment below. Comment below. Let me know if you are competing in the Fit Model division or any division. Drop a comment below. Let me know the category. Let me know the show you're competing in. And you know what? If you are interested in Emma, look into your posing. Drop her a DM on the in the bio. There's a link. Click on it. Easy as that. And if you could do this last little thing, drop subscribe. It's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us a lot. Okay, let's go straight into this because we've got a few people we want to cover today.
Yeah,
And as always, I will do a little run through of that individual while Emma looks for opposing, and then she'll give a critique, and at the end, give the final grade. So we'll see if we can get anybody in that A level, that A mark this week.
let's
Okay,
do it.
let's grab the first person. The first person, I think you've already done a critique of this person on our socials, and that is Shayla. So,
Yes.
hopefully everyone can see this as well. So let me just walk through this, and then I'll pass it over to Emma. Shayla, she's been called the new standard. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing her when she actually hits one of the pro qualifiers, which I believe is the NPC juniors that I think she mentioned to me earlier this week. But look, she won the Samson Showdown. And from what I saw on the showdown, that looked like the busiest show of the weekend. You had a good number in the classes and the overall. So well done, Shayla. Well done in winning your overall and obviously get some great feedback. You're on stage next time at the Midwest Championships before you head over to the pro qualifiers. Now, Emma, I know you've looked at Shayla's poses quite a bit. Over to you. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so obviously, Shayla's been deemed and named the prototype of Fit Model, which wow, what a name to be given, eh? So really, really loved her posing. I think it was so super confident. I love the first transition that she does when she steps into that front pose where she brings the arm in front. I think what's going to happen now is as we start to see the standard of the posing rising, I think we're going to then start to see this reflected in the girls coming up over the coming weeks and months, bring a little bit more style and a little bit more independence to the Fit Model posing style as well. With Shayla, I think that she executes her posing really well. I love the front pose, and what we're starting to see on more of the girls, which is something I've touched on before, which I was kind of a little bit questionable on, was lifting the front heel off the floor in the front pose. But this is something we're seeing now. When you lift the front heel off the floor, what that's going to do is it's going to give a much longer, slimmer line through the leg. So I think this is actually indicating to us, what the judges want to see. They're not looking for heaps of development. We know this already through the lower half, but bringing a leaner leg length through that front leg is going to give a much fuller, more prominent glute shape as well. Yeah. She's got fantastic taper. She's got a tiny waist. The girls are really rotating the hips around to the side in that front pose to give as much taper through the waist as possible. So yeah, love this front pose. The first transition is really nice. I think the video that I critiqued, I just felt like she was a little bit laboured when she stepped around to the front. And in the rear position, I would just like to see a little bit more of a sharper top line so we could kind of get the same taper that we get in the front pose, we get that in the rear position as well. So just giving a little bit more of a sharper top line, maybe just taking the feet a tiny bit wider and also just pulling the elbows towards each other here will just give us more of that upside down triangle shape, giving that really that difference between the shoulders and the waist. So we've got that V taper, and I think just taking the feet a tiny bit wider would just give us that nice flow from upper to lower. I love her transition from the back around to the front. I think it's super fluid. At no moment do you see her stop. And I think this is the key with the transitions for this division. Keep them moving. Do not stop in the transition. So here, arms keep moving. She's into that glute sharp. She keeps it moving with the footwork. She sets it up. There's not a lot happening presentation-wise in those transitions, but the arms are fluid, the footwork's fluid, and there's not a lot happening, which is, I think, what the judges really want to see.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I took from it was we know because you're limited of what you can actually do for your female posing versus bikini, we're going to start seeing maybe very subtle little things that people will throw in to make their posing different to other people. As we can see here, we can see Shayla's arm coming forward before going
Mm,
back to the normal angle, which of course
yeah.
we've seen from previous girls, the arm just goes out. So those
Yes.
little
So it's
subtle
quite
things,
nice. Yeah.
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 That's that's it. So Shayla, huge well done, but here comes the moment. Emma, give me that grade.
Okay, so I'm gonna give Shayla a B because when she walks in, the eyes are down. She's not connecting with the judges, and also as she steps into that first front pose, it's kind of a little bit of a shuffle through the feet. So I'd just like to see, that those little creases ironed out a little bit more, maybe just a little bit more of a bigger smile and something going on in the eyes, so she has that stage presence. Otherwise, I think the transitions are nice. I just think she can just execute them with a little bit more conviction and confidence as well. But I think that'll come with a little bit more practice. Next time on stage, I feel like we're definitely going to see a sharper routine.
100%. I look forward to seeing her on stage at the Midwest Championships.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to following her journey and seeing how this plays out for 2025. So once again, Shayla, huge, well done.
Yeah.
Now, next up, we go over to Canada. So before I pass it over to Emma, last weekend was Canada's first ever show that hosts Fit Model. And at this show, I don't think it was stacked with a high number of competitors, but we did have a standout winner here, and that is Sydney. Sydney is the first ever Fit Model overall winner from Canada. So, Emma, I know you have done a review. I haven't put this up yet,
Yeah.
but if I have just done it about an hour ago.
Oh, no, yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yes. So, talk to me about Sydney.
Okay, so again, I think that it's quite clear for me now that a lot of the girls that are stepping on stage for Fit Model, they're past competitors, so they've got that stage presence, and I feel like a lot of them now, the posing standard has jumped up a little bit. With Sydney, when she walks onto the stage, I think you can notice her glutes are lifted the entire time. The walk for me is a little bit fast, but it's still executed really well. The front pose looks nice. We can see the taper down through the waist, but I would like to see a longer line through the front leg. I think her lower half looks a little bit thick through the thighs. I mean, not thick in regards to what we would see on a wellness or a bikini girl, but we do know that they do want a much smaller look through the lower half aside from the glute. So I would just maybe actually explore the foot position and play around with it a little bit more. Maybe potentially lifting that front heel off the floor to give a longer line through the quad. So we're really just focusing on seeing the glute pop and the waist taper as much as possible. The first transition from the front around to the rear, I wasn't crazy about it. I just felt like there's a few foot changes happening when she walks back on, which we'll see in a second, which I just feel like isn't as fluid as it could be. But her transition from the back around to the front is a lot more fluid, which I really like. So if we watch here, this little change. It's not quite finished off. She goes into a glute shot. So that little moment there, I just like to see that refined. Rear pose looks really nice, but look at this, super smooth. Bam. Still a little bit of a foot change there, which I feel like she could iron out from the transition from the back around to the front. When she does her glute shot into her model pose, which is with the front knee bent, I would actually then like to see her take that front straight out, that front foot straight back out into position. So if we just watch again here, she moves quite quickly. So we clean this up. Rear position looks nice. Glutes are lifted. Now watch here. This looks so smooth. Glute shot. T straight out instead of this little switch. So just taking that left foot straight back out into position. Walking off is lovely. Glutes are lifted. I think she looks good. Again, not heaps of corrections there, just small tweaks, which is amazing to see, given the fact that this division is new.
Yeah, and once again, I like to see those subtle things that people do to add their personality. We're about to see one of them here with their flick of their
Little
hair to
hair.
face forward and it
Yeah,
hits that front shot. So,
yeah,
Cindy, huge well done. On of course to your coach as well, Brandon. Great
yeah.
job here. Emma, your rating, please.
Okay, so rating for Sydney, I am gonna give her a B minus because I feel like that front pose could look a little bit sharper. The foot transitions could be a little bit cleaner. But it's still a really good standard. She's got stage presence. That smile does not leave.
Yeah, that's a very good rating. And you know what? We're not expecting many people to hit that A standard when you're doing your football show for the very first time. And as we can see with a lot of the competitors, they do have multiple shows. I mean, there was one competitor who competed the weekend, and it was a fifth show as a
Wow,
football competitor. So
wow.
I'm expecting Cindy to only get better, and of course, grabbing that first overall win already means your pop history in Canada. So Cindy, very well done. Next up, we go over to Mexico. And that
Yes.
is, we got Flo here. Now, just before I pass it to Emma, this is Mexico's first Fit Model overall winner. Now, I've only got this video from somebody from the crowd, so hopefully it gives us an idea about Flo and her posing routine. But once again, Flo, huge well done in becoming Mexico's first ever overall Fit Model winner. Emma, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on Flo.
Yeah. So first of all, she's really given me model vibes, which obviously ticks a huge box for this division. There's definitely refinement that can be done in the posing. I'm going to say the face plays a huge part in regards to how it lights up the stage because I'm almost distracted I'm distracted from the posing by just seeing how smiley she is. So this is just a side note for a lot of athletes. And I think in the front pose that we could definitely just create more taper through the waist and more pop through the glute as well in this position. If she was just to twist her hips a little bit more, we'd see that V taper touch more as well. The transitional pose, I also think it is a little bit too model-like because we're not seeing, the shape of the glute, the taper of the waist, and there's no clear top line. She does move really quickly and fluidly around the rear. You can tell she's quite confident in her movement. But again, I would like to see a quick flash of the glute shot and then stepping into that rear position. So more of a glute shot here and then into that rear position. The rear pose here, I feel like it's a little bit soft. So I would like to see a little bit more tension, maybe pushing back through the glutes just a little bit more, just to lift them up a touch higher. And also just placing the hands on the thighs and pulling the elbows touch in towards each other, just to create again that nice top line and those little what I call diamond windows. So if you pull the shoulders and the elbows back with the resistance, we're going to get a nice pop of an upside down triangle. And as we come back around to the front, I think again the transitions maybe just need a little bit more refinement here as we just watch. Yeah, it's quick. She does actually come back round to the front really quickly. But I just think we could just utilize that time just to, even if it's just a flash of a glute shot and then stepping back into the front pose, just to give a little bit more stagecraft and presentation. I
I
think
think a key thing as
she's doing
well.
well.
Yeah, I think a key thing as well to take away is that smile never breaks. That smile stays there throughout. I do believe it. I think it's her first show, and you are right
Okay.
that she does come from a modeling background, so this is something
Yeah.
that's completely new to her. But of
Yeah.
course, what's showing in her face and smile clearly shows that background that doesn't break at all. So well done, Flo. Emma, do you want to give your rating for Mexico's first ever Fit Model overall winner?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a C, purely because the posing could definitely just be improved, but it's her first show. But the face is giving, so she's gonna get a C.
Well done. And Flo, we look forward to seeing you at your next show. We'll continue for sure to cover you. Okay, we go all the way to Australia now. So Australia had their first show to host Fit Model. I believe it is their first NPC show of 2025. Back end of
Okay.
April, I believe they have their first pro qualifier. So we have Charlie here. So Charlie is the first ever Australian Fit Model overall winner. Emma, I'm keen to hear your thoughts here. It's nice that we got some professional video footage here at this point versus
Yes.
what we have from the crowd. But I always say
Yeah.
thank you to everyone who sends me the footage. It really does help me out a lot.
Yeah.
Emma, talk to me about Australia's first ever big model overall winner.
Yeah, well, I think she's got really good movement and flow. The presentation is there, as we like to see. That smile does not leave her face. Her eyes also constantly connect with the judges as well. And this is something that, you know, it's sometimes it's hard to teach this because some people find it a little bit more difficult to connect with the judges, not or even the audience. So this is really nice to see. She moves confidently. There's definitely some refinement on the poses. So let's talk about the front pose first of all. I definitely like to see more taper through the waist and more emphasis on that front glute popping towards the judges a little bit more when she hits that front pose. Also through the front pose, I'd like to see a little bit more of a stronger top line here. We're just losing the shoulders here. So can you see that? We can see a level of shoulder cap through her straight arm, but the hand that is on the waist, the shoulders internally rotating. Now, it granted, we never want to see an aggressive top line in the NPC, but we do need to see the fullness through the shoulders. We don't want to look like we never want to look stringy in our posing, and sometimes when we push down through the shoulder, it flattens the delt off. So we just want a little bit more roundness through the delts. I think also just allowing the lats to open up a little bit more in this front pose would actually create more V taper for her as well. Because the lats are slightly winged behind the body, there's not heaps of difference between the waist and the lats. So we want to create like a vase like feeling. So we've got those lats opening up and the waist looks as small as possible. I think as well, playing around with that glute position so we can get a real pop on the front glute so we can just really execute that fit model pose. Now, rear position here. I'd like to see, now she's got quite well developed quads. So in the rear position, we can see that Charlie isn't externally rotating at all through the rear pose. And this is potentially just to make the quads look a little bit smaller here. But I would actually keep her toes where they are. I'd just try rotating the quads out a touch, not a lot, just to see if we can just create a little bit more pop through the top of the glutes, because the glutes look a little bit flat at the top. So can we just create a little bit more fullness through the glutes whilst not showcasing too much quad sweep through the legs? Hand position, the gaps between the elbows and the waist are a little bit too wide. So we're just seeing a little bit too much space around the waist. If we were to just bring the hands maybe a little bit lower, wing the shoulders to the elbows, towards each other, it's going to make smaller diamond windows, which is going to just give better proportions between the upper and the lower.
Perfect.
As we continue, transition. I like this transition when she brings the feet together. She comes back round to the front. She gets straight back into that front pose. So it's really nice to see when the footwork is so super fluid and it looks really organic. This is really great. And it's just a case of just really fine tuning the front and the rear pose for me on the most part.
Great job. And once again, I love those little sort of things. Even at the point here when she's about to turn to the rear, her eyes is still fixed a little bit to the judges to give her a little glance.
Yeah,
There we go. And it
exactly.
still keeps the judges engaged. So very well done. Charlie, now tell me about her rating.
because I feel like the front and the rear pose could be tweaked quite a bit, not quite a bit, but the tweaks would make such a considerable change to the physique. I am going to go with a C plus.
Charlie,
And that might seem a little bit harsh, but she has got such a good physique. Those tweaks on the front and the rear pose would make such a considerable difference to the overall look. If she did that, she would be like, I feel like the posing would be maybe an A minus.
well, look, Charlie, sky's the limit. I firmly believe as well. From this is your first show, you got many more shows ahead of you, and I believe, just like anybody else, your poses only get stronger and stronger. But already,
Absolutely.
great job over in Australia. Very well done in your overall win. We now head over to Latin America in Guatemala, because also we had our first ever Guatemala and Latin America Fit Model overall winner. So as you can see, content is from the crowd, so it's not the greatest footage, but we get a good idea of Sophie. So Sophie, very well done in winning your Fit Model overall title in Guatemala. It's no joke when you're looking to try and be the first. There's not many competitors. Obviously, we can see there's three others there anyway. But very well done. But you're not here to hear me. You're here to hear Emma. Emma, talk to me about her posing.
Keeps the confidence again, bringing all the model energy, which I really love for this division. As she walks forwards, she's turning the toes in a little bit, which kind of just can make you feel a little bit off balance. So, little tip to all athletes when you are walking, ever so slightly just turn the toes out, but definitely don't let them point in and cross over as you walk. As she hits the front pose, the arms there's a little bit too much movement through the arms. They're coming up quite high. But as she gets more confident and she cleans this up, the arm movement, I feel she'll probably rein it in quite a lot. We don't want, never in the NPC do we kind of want a lot of flappy movement with the arms. We just want to make it very classy, very direct, nothing lifting too high at all. In this front pose, you can actually see she's got a fantastic shape. She's got a naturally small waist. She's got good developed glutes, and it would just be making sure that she really executes this fit model position here. Maybe just slightly changing the position through the presented leg, just so we maybe again get a longer line through that quad, so it's not looking a little bit overdeveloped. Now, I think as well, once we get into seeing that first pro lineup, it's going to really indicate what the judges do and don't want to see at that level. But I do feel like they're really going to appreciate and want to see a much longer line through the front quad. As she transitions to the rear, she's got nice flow, but again, the arms just a little bit too much movement. And let's just have a little watch here. So we'll let her hit that front pose. Little transition. Nice, quick movement to the back, straight into that rear pose. Rear pose looks nice from what I can see. The position is actually quite good. The only thing I'd maybe explore is seeing if the foot position a little bit wider just gives her a better overall shape. But from what I can see through the upper body, maybe just bringing the arms down a little bit lower, but it looks pretty good from what I can tell. So this transition back around to the front, this looks nice. This moment here, I don't like it before she hits that front pose again. There's a moment where she's completely exposed. And it's almost like there's no pose there. So what I would recommend is, again, just adding in that T pose, that model pose, so she can then just tap the foot in, bend the front knee, and then pop that front leg straight back out again. So we never want to have any moments where we're not posing. And even in the transitions, you want to make sure that you know exactly where your foot position is, your knee position, your glute position. So you are never showcasing any weakness to the judges, but she's smiling, she's confident. So I feel like this is definitely just the beginning for her.
Perfect. Okay, well, look, yep, Sophie, huge well done on becoming Guatemala's first overall winner. Emma, talk about her rating.
I am gonna go with a C, just because I feel like there is quite a bit of improvement to do, but she has nice overall presentation. She's smiley, but I feel like there is heaps ahead for Sophie.
Well done, Sophie, and best of luck for the rest of the season. We got one more girl. Can she get the A? No pressure because we go over to Sammy. Now, let me just see if I can find. one without my text, but I'm sure there was one on her page. Here it is. I don't know if you can see this too much, but just so everyone knows, so this was Sammy's second show. Now, this is the Fit Model Pro qualifier. So she
Okay.
won her class, went to the overall, and she took second in the overall. So she's been, she's done a few shows already in Asia. She's been in the overall in a pro qualifier before, which was previously won by Angie over in Japan. And now, of course, she got a second overall. Once again, narrowly missing out. She won her class, but it didn't take the overall. So, Emma, this is from the pro qualifier overall. We are going to look at the comparisons in a moment. Let me know what you think about Sammy.
I think her presentation is definitely pro worthy. I actually, from the distance, I can't tell completely with the front pose and the pose. And the only thing I would maybe say is from a distance, she looks a little bit upper dominant through the upper body. And obviously, we don't want to be too aggressively flaring through the lat. So maybe just work on exposing a little bit more shape through the glute so that it has more balance between the upper and the lower. So when we're hitting that front pose, you would never want your front lat to come out more than your glute. So maybe she could just slightly refine that, but I'm at a distance, so I could be wrong. I love the transitions through the arms. She's actually for me, she's pushing the boundaries a little bit because she's lingering in those transitions. But the arm movements here, they're nice and fluid. They keep moving, they don't stop, and they really move and transition her into the next pose. So the walk forwards is also really nice. She's got that swing through the shoulders before she hits that front pose. There's no awkward movements here either. It all looks really natural. Little shoulder shrug, keeps the presentation. Rear pose looks nice. Maybe just wing the elbows in a little bit more so the upper doesn't look dominant. The little crossover in the arms there, they're continuous. Back into that front pose. Little finish, hand on the hip, making it her own, little wave. I like it. I like it. I'd
I
need to see her close up just to see if
Yeah,
there was any tweaks posing wise, but overall, this is really nice.
I'm not gonna ask for a rating because I distance, so it's a
Yeah,
bit difficult to fully judge because there may be some things we didn't see. But
yeah.
what we'll do is we will go into this is the Australia Fit model overall. Give me one moment. So I think the China DMS actually put up the um
The
the overall
comparison.
lineup. If I quickly scroll down here. Where is it? Here we are. So I don't know if you can see too much. This is from the China DMS page. This is where they had the pro qualifier. This is the overall. So we've got four girls here. If I just indicate that the person in the middle left in the blue bikini, she was
Yeah.
the overall winner. And the
Mhm.
girl we just saw a moment ago is
Yeah.
on the middle right, and that is Sammy. Um, Emma, can you see this very well?
It's at a distance. But from a distance, for me, it actually looks like Angel maybe has in the front post like the better shape, but I could be completely wrong. What I will say is that compared to the other girls, Angel hangs about a little bit too much in her transitions. This might have gone against her because especially when you see from the front to the back to walk, the girls are already walking above her, ahead of her, and she's still transitioning. So we can see the girls switch over here. Let's just have a little look. So we transition. See, she's lingering there. The other girls are already walking to
Yeah.
the back. So who knows? This may have played a part because if the judges really want to set an example of what they want to see, they might have really been sticking to those guidelines hard. It'll be really great for me when I do the review of this comparison round where I can see the video up close. And then I'll really be able to kind of break down the posing and also the physique as well. But the presentation on all four of these girls looks
I
really, really nice.
Yeah, I think the key thing that's to take away is when you are doing comparisons to avoid lingering too much before hitting your pose because we
Absolutely.
know with Fit Model they want you to hit your poses straight away. The
Yeah.
longer it takes you to hit your pose, the more time you give other people to be assessed, and
Yeah.
therefore you could potentially drop down in the
Mm.
rankings. But hopefully we will do a proper review of this one
Yeah.
because it's not the one. Well, want to get a longer version, a much bigger version to get over to Emma, and she
Mm.
can like assess the first pro qualifier overall that took place in China. So very well done to those girls. We may as well just finish off and just jump on here on your page. And look, I need
Yes.
to ask Emma. I know you dropped this yesterday, and I was
Yeah.
looking through some of the comments. There were some comments that understood they knew the date, and there were
They knew
some
the
that it just
date, they
went
knew
over
the
their head.
mission. Yeah, it was an April Fool's. I will not be stepping back on stage, but you know what? It was really nice just to hear everyone's comments and support. So I do know if I ever do decide to get back on stage, there is a lot of support out there. But no, it won't be happening anytime soon. Maybe if they create like an over 40s category, then maybe. Who knows?
But look, I saw the comments, and even though you put the hashtag "What date is it today," there were people can miss that. They see the first few letters and they jump straight to it. So,
Yeah.
look, yeah, look, it is job. But look, yeah, that's a wrap for this week. So we've gone through about quite a few of the goals. This weekend, what do we have? We have the Arnold South America. So I believe they got the Fit Model division over there. We have the UK one. So I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to be the first ever Fit Model overall winner from the UK. And of course, we've got some other shows in America. There's another one in Australia, in Perth. There's another one over in Asia, or country. But once again, there's loads. So, guys, if you are competing for a model, drop a comment below. Let me know which show you're competing in. Make sure you follow the Instagram page. Make sure you follow Emma. Drop a message if you want to ask any questions to do with posing. Simple as that. Otherwise, tune in for next week for more reviews of the football division.